Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It is in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a model that's been around for at least 20 years. It's not current production, but it's a lovely throwback to the era before the Vacheron Constantin Malte collection became a series of tonneau-only watches. This is the Malte Skeleton, our delightful 35.5 millimeters in diameter in yellow gold. It is an ultra-thin, skeletonized and engraved caliber. And you can see it is ultra-thin, 6 millimeters thick despite automatic winding, and a delightfully short 40.6 millimeters lug tip to lug tip with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now you can see on my wrist, this is a classical dress watch, beautifully thin, compact, handsomely proportioned, suitable for him or for her, discreet and easily capable of fitting underneath a dress sleeve. Super short atop the wrist. This one will make you proud, but it does not stand proud, so to speak. And it has just an incredible presence. You don't need a 48 millimeter watch to make a splash. Sometimes quality over quantity, and that is what we have right here. I can recommend this for men and women. No lower limit on wrist size. Taking a look at the strap, high grade, matte finish, large rectangular scale, alligator leather with symmetrical scales. As I always say, that's the most expensive cut of alligator. We have a sheer side, a lightly contrasting stitch, and a dark reddish brown, almost adobe-like color. Flip it all over, you can see calfskin on the bottom, a brand new Vacheron factory strap, and we have a Vacheron Constantin pin buckle in matching yellow gold with the Maltese cross motif on it, and that is that logo. The Maltese cross is the symbol of the company. Now you can see the lugs, those lovely stepped Malte lugs. These were the original features of the Malte collection before it became all tonneau. They are lovely welded profile lugs. You can see how this case was made. The case was made, the lugs were made separately. The lugs were inserted into slots in the case, they were welded on, and then all evidence of the welded material was removed by hand to create that super sharp break between the lug and the case. This is an exquisitely traditional handcrafted case, made the old-fashioned way, slow and manual. You can see there's a little bit of a case band that steps out, and then we have a conical profile that leads up to the bezel, which has an abrupt vertical lip and then becomes almost perfectly flat with a very shallow conical plane leading to a dial that is all the money. This is basically the Vacheron Constantin 1120 automatic movement. There's not a whole lot to see. I would say it's a skeleton dial watch, but there is no dial. You're looking at the bridges and plates of the movement and then two broadsword blued hands. So let's just take a quick tour. As you can see, steel components, immaculately hand finished, comprising the keyless works. I'll do my best to operate that. You can see how the keyless works operates. You have the little clutch, you have the setting lever, you have a sliding pinion with a crown profile at the end. There's a little winding pinion right at the root of the assembly. So you can see that winding pinion winding the visible mainspring inside the barrel, and through that skeletonization on the barrel in the shape of a Maltese cross, you can actually see the coiling of the spring, which is sort of an informal power reserve. Get used to the watch and you'll actually be able to tell how much time you have left. When you pull out the crown, you can see how the clutch slides the crown wheel forward, and it engages with a first intermediate wheel. Then there's a second intermediate wheel synced to that. Then adjacent to that, there is a minute wheel, and the minute wheel pinion turns the hour wheel, which bears the hour hand, and then there's a cannon pinion under that hour wheel that bears the minute hand. So that's how the setting system works. Everything here that's silver is steel, and you can see it's been beveled on its side and setinated across its top. Now you can also see that the barrel and the bridges and the plates have been skeletonized first to remove material and then engraved. They've also been interior beveled, which means every surface that's skeletonized is flanked by beveling, which means we have a lot of those sharp interior angles where bevels meet, and I mean a lot of them to the point where I can't even count. The engraving is impressive because it's hard to do this, but it's even harder to do it without deforming these parts. They still need to be perpendicular to the pivots that insert into them. They still need to be straight and flat across and true. They still need to function as mechanical parts, not just objet d'art. And the impressive thing here is that they do both. You can see we have a KIF shock protection spring on top of the balance that beats away at 19,800 vibrations per hour. We have a Swiss lever escapement right there. Automatic winding with a 40-hour power reserve. By the way, the beat rate of 19,800 vibrations per hour has been a feature of this movement ever since Jaeger-LeCoultre first designed it for Audemars, Vacheron, and Patek back in 1967. All three companies used this movement, but no other company ever did, including JLC. It has always been exclusive to the Holy Trinity, and the movement's only 2.45 millimeters thick. For years, it was the thinnest automatic movement on the market. 36 joules and unidirectional winding. One of its standout features has long been that there are 4 ruby bearings. So let me show you how the rotor works. First of all, beautiful on the back. Second, you can see that we have a rotor that's got a mass on one side, but the rotor goes all the way around. It is a full 360-degree rotor. Now, the way this works is the rotor is sunken super close to the base plate, and the mass, along with its rotor center, that is really sunken quite close to the bridge. And the reason all of this doesn't come into physical contact, especially under conditions of shock, is because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ruby roller bearings that sit under this annular rotor. Remember, this ring is part of the system, so it's a ring all the way around with a mass on one side, and those 4 bearings prevent it from getting any closer to the bridges or plates, which prevents the bridges and plates from getting marred by the rotor system. Now, you can see everything on the back that's silver is steel. Even the ratchet wheel atop the barrel has been skeletonized. You can see the click to allow the system to wind unidirectionally. You can also see that all screw heads are black polished with chamfered slots in circumference. All the wheels are satinated. You can see that the stud holder and the regulator are both black polished. And then all this water resistant down to 30 meters, so dress watch water resistance, and with a 40-hour power reserve. As good gets. I didn't think I'd talk 7 minutes about a 2-hand manual wind watch. There's just a lot to say. It's an earful, but fortunately, this watch is also an eyeful, and it's not a wristful. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of Vacheron at its finest.